All right, Joel. So we are back, and we're going to discuss one of my favorite shows, and I know it's one of your favorites too.
Oh, most definitely. We've been meaning to do this one for a bit, and the second season wrapped not too long ago, so we figured we should jump back onto the side panel horse and we should talk about this one.
Yeah, I think this is a show that needs more attention for the
Yes,
reason
it
that
does.
a lot of people are not watching it, but the ones that are absolutely in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
So Ray Donovan, season one, I think was a great start off. It really got you layered into, what his life is, what his family is, and
Mm-hmm.
all the problems he's going to face. Where season two was really balls to the wall. Okay, his life is really fucking awful.
It was definitely the shit hitting the fan season. And again, for those of you who don't know, Ray Donovan is, of course, the Liev Schreiber-led Showtime series, which I know some of you are already raising an eyebrow like, whoa, wait, Showtime still has shows? Yes, they do, and this is probably one of their best. Ray Donovan, of course, is a Hollywood fixer. He works for the rich and famous, all the celebrities. If you've got a problem and you need it solved, Ray Donovan will do it for you. He's like Winston Wolfe in Pulp Fiction.
Now, I think what's even better about the show, besides just him being the star of it, is the supporting cast.
Oh, a very great supporting cast. Of course, this is a big, like late in life return to TV star turn from John Voight, Angelina Jolie's dad.
He is
Rocks the
so
shit.
fucking good.
But like he should win all the awards this year, but he probably won't.
Yeah, I mean, you watch the scenes he's in, man, and even when he's, planning something, he's planning something worse just because of how he's acting. Like, he delivers every line with such grace and everything. Like, oh
Mm.
my god, he really steals the show.
He's very into it, of course. John Voight plays Ray's dad, Mickey Donovan, who at the start of the series is just getting out of jail. He's an old South Boston bank robber, is his thing, and he's just getting out now. And Ray hates his dad, and his brothers hate him too. And we don't really know why. And we learn, throughout the course of the series, what a scumbag he was and what a scumbag he is still being.
And what a worse scumbag he becomes during season two, because we won't get into slight spoiler talks. We're not going to try to spoil the big things, but I love like Ray's family and how diverse of characters they are, and
Definitely.
the heist that they set up in season two that happens, which I won't spoil. The outcome of one of the characters just like hit me. I was like, no, man, no, come on.
Yeah, it's definitely the thing because Ray's the one who's got like his whole life together and everything for the most part. He's got money, he's got a fancy house, fancy family. His other brothers, Terry and Bunchy, they both work at this boxing gym, where his one buddy Terry, who's played by Eddie Marson, has MS from getting hit so many times in the ring and everything. And his other brother Bunchy just got a big settlement from the church because he was molested as a kid by a priest. And as we find out, actually, he might not have been the only one.
Yeah, and I love the real world. They really set this in. I mean, it's a really good mob story. At the back end of it with what his dad was doing and everything. Which of course all in a good way comes back to tie it into what's happening. But there's also the whole thing with of course, one of the main characters here, he's trying to go up higher and higher in the ranks of the, fighting crime and FBI and everything, and how all that ties in. I really enjoy that actual aspect of the show.
Yeah, it's definitely a show about L.A. and Hollywood and just the insane amounts of power these people hold. Ray's boss and kind of his surrogate father, because he hates his own father so much, is Ezra Goodman, played by in a great way by Elliot Gould. Elliot Gould has some great stuff to do in this show, and as the series is starting, his mind is kind of deteriorating. He might have onset Alzheimer's. We're not really sure, but he's starting to go a little crazy, and this is causing all sorts of problems for Ray too.
Now, which season would you say you enjoyed more? Because I thought season one was overall great, but I think two just really took the show in a brand new direction. Like, it's like season one, I could be like, yeah, you have to watch this because it's really good. But two, I'm like, no, you have to watch this.
Well, as is often the case, season one is the question, season one is the setup, and season two is the big payoff and everything. Actually, we forgot about another great character that we failed to mention. So we mentioned Ray and his relationship he has with his brothers. Well, he has a half brother named Daryl, who is black. You see, his dad's this horrible racist, you know, back in the day, but he also loves black women and twerking, so he has a half-black brother named Daryl, and Daryl's cool, and Daryl hangs out with them.
He is cool, and he has a pretty good character moment, too, because no matter how shitty his dad is to him, he always keeps coming back and getting fucked over.
Yeah, because he's the youngest and everything, and, well, you know, all the other brothers have pretty much said, you know, we're done with dad, you know, we're done with whatever. He very much is looking for, you know, a male role model and a father figure, and yet again, Jon Voight just keeps fucking him over. And yet the thing is, too, is that, you know, it's like you can't quite hate Mickey Donovan as a character because they very much let you inside his head.
Right.
And see his way of thinking. Like, there's a bit in season 2 when the cops have him, and even though he has every reason in the world to sell out Ray and sell out his son, he doesn't do it because that's like one of his code of ethics, and that's why he's such a wonderful character to both love and hate, because they do shitty stuff, but they also have like a code of ethics to them.
Right. So you know, what we're saying is a whole lot of good stuff in this show. There's a whole lot in season 2 that deals with actually a rapper that gets out of jail and how scummy he is, and
there's a dude who is literally just Suge Knight. They call him Cookie Brown, but I'm like, dude, you're Suge Knight. Who you kidding?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too. One of Ray's like girlfriends on the side or whatever. One of his romantic things is with a character who is basically just Miley Cyrus. Is the thing. She's literally just Miley Cyrus.
Right.
And in the second season, too, he gets all embroiled with, like, this really shitty self-help guru who you know this guy is bad news the second he shows up.
Right.
And yet he's kind of fun to watch because you're like, well, what horrible thing is he going to say next?
Yeah, I agree. So...
we gotta talk about the birthday party episode again. This is a season 2 episode. I think this is probably one of the most enjoyable and most tense pieces of television.
Oh God, yeah.
That I've ever been, because again, like the whole season, they're building up like all this family drama and all this tension and all this anger and resentment, and then it all comes to a head at his son Connor's birthday party. And again, I think this speaks very much to white people in general, because I think we've all had birthday parties like this where, you know, where your uncles were fighting or there was a lot of resentment and then everybody starts drinking and then the shit blows up. Everyone has been to a party like this at some point in their life, and they put it so good on screen because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, not at all. And when it all comes to head, man, I mean, shit goes crazy.
You know, it's really explosive. And that speaks a lot to Ray Donovan as a character, is that he's so fun to watch, Liev Schreiber, and his performance, because, again, you don't know what he's going to do. You know he's dangerous, and you're not sure if he's going to explode at any minute.
Right. So, if we haven't sold you on the show yet, I suggest you go at least check out 1 or 2 episodes. You know, go check it out. But for now, this is where you should stop, because I want to talk spoilers with Joel. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, you know, tune out. And if you want to be spoiled or you watched it and you want to contribute to all the conversation, stay around. Because, you know, I think there was... Obviously, Cookie Brown was the main bad guy of this season.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of the shit the guy was doing was totally despicable. The way he just murders, like, a 16-year-old kid in cold blood and then plays it off like, oh, I love that boy.
Yeah, I love that boy. Like, true, cold, calculating psychopath. Again, too, when you're basing your character on Suge Knight, there's a lot of places you could go with him. A very fun villain, to be sure.
And, you know, that whole scene where he's talking to Ray and he knows that his daughter was, you know, involved at it. And he asks his kid on his lap, he's like, oh, I love my kids. And he's like, how do you know I'm not going to come after you? Ray's like, you know, I don't.
You don't, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing you saw. He's like, okay, I know he's going to. So Ray had to, of course, take it up upon himself and murders the dude.
And then I love the scene that even follows that with the 2 bodyguards, where he's like, hey, there's $1 million in this bag. You know, you could split that 2 ways, or you could kill each other over it.
Yeah. And, of course, they kill each other.
They kill each other over, which I'm like, that's cool.
Now, one of the subplots going throughout the season was, of course, Bunchy.
Bunchy, yeah, and him trying to get back into the dating scene, of course. No, he's a self-described sexual anorexic because he was molested as a kid. Sex is a very big theme in Ray Donovan. And the theme that keeps coming up a lot is the idea that no one has normal sex on the show. You notice that? It's either angry or kinky or, or there's like some sort of like issues involved. No one just has regular sex on the show.
Yeah, well, it's Hollywood, man. Everybody's bored of the normal thing, so.
Clearly. But yeah, of course, his whole thing, Bunchy in this whole story arc for this season, which is a really rough scene to watch.
Oh God!
And it's rough, because we like Bunchy so much, and we hate to see him go to this place where the woman he's dating has a kid, and Bunchy is afraid that where it's like well, I was molested by a priest. Does that mean that I could very well become a predator too? At some point, which obviously, of course, like, no, Bunchy, don't even think about that. And then later at a group meeting, people are like, well, no, whoa, you shouldn't even be thinking that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a scene in the show where, he's dating her and she's like, oh, can you go get him out of the bathtub? And, he's worried, but he tries it. And, like, that scene, literally, I was at the edge of my seat. I'm like, shit. I'm like, oh, God.
Because you can feel his tension
and
everything, and you can feel how weirded out he is by the whole thing, and you're just like, and even where, like, that storyline ends, where he comes clean to her and, admits everything that happened to him in his childhood and everything, and they don't get back together at the end, it's like, aw.
Yeah, that sucks.
That does suck. Oh, two characters we also didn't talk about who are really cool. Stephen Bauer and Catherine Moaning as Avi and Lena, the two people who work with Ray at his office. Those two characters are so fun.
Avi's the shit.
Avi is great, and Avi does a thing at the end of this season. Avi kind of goes against Ray and kind of backs Ezra a bit.
Oh, yeah, he does, because they murdered a reporter that was going to put out the whole story, which is like, oh, shit.
and again, too, it's like, you can't really hate Avi, though, because, again, it's like, well, it had to be done. It had to be done. I know you don't like it, Ray, but it had to be done.
And also, throughout the show, they kept telling the goddamn reporter, stay out of it or you're going to get yourself killed. Hell, Ray said that to her about every other episode.
They gave her multiple chances to back out, and she didn't. Of course, we're supposed to be on the reporter's side because, justice done and everything. Heck, we didn't even mention that, Sully in Season 1, that's frickin', what's his name? Famous actor. Why the hell can I know?
I'm terrible at remembering some of these people's names.
Here, you stall and I'll look on IMDb.
Okay, well, he, of course, was actually, it's a whole big story of how he was betrayed, and also, like, the dad was betrayed, and there was a whole bunch of scheming going on behind the scenes, and he's actually brought in by Ray Donovan to murder Ray's father, which...
James Woods, that's who it is. James,
there we go, jeez.
As Sully Sullivan, who is clearly supposed to be Whitey Bulger, the big Boston crime boss, who, Jack Nicholson also played in The Departed. So again, the show's pulling on a lot of real-world stuff, too, which is nice.
Uh-huh. I mean, yeah, his character was great, and the way his character goes is awesome, and...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Again, the second season, too, it dealt with Ray dealing a lot more with the FBI, and as that relates to Hollywood and everything. Hank Azaria, man, plays Ed Cochran, this really scummy FBI agent, and this is the most beautifully hateable Hank Azaria's ever been.
Yep, it's great.
And Hank Azaria clearly beefed up for the role, too, because he has his shirt off a bunch.
Yeah, he does. Well, he has to for some of those scenes.
It's hard to believe Mo, Mo from The Simpsons, is turning in such amazing performance here.
I know, right?
Friggin' Mo, man.
Is there anything else you want to say before we sign off for the side panel, besides that people should watch this?
Again, it's like I don't want to spoil too much because I think people absolutely should see it. But yeah, if Ray Donovan seems like something you would be interested in, you should check it out. Top-notch writing, top-notch direction. From actually, I realized a bunch of the people who directed the pilot and onwards are like the same people who directed episodes of Sopranos.
Uh-huh.
So, like, if you like that style of directing, that's definitely there. This is truly a star-making performance for Liev Schreiber. Like, this is his Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like we had always seen Liev Schreiber in movies and on TV and stuff. We're like, man, that guy's pretty good, but he's never really had a good starring role. This is his good starring role.
This is the one that's going to get him, noticed by more and more people. So
yeah, this is the one where you're like, wow, this dude is an amazing talent and an amazingly physical actor, too, is the thing. His wife in the show, too, Paula Malcolmson, who you've seen in everything. You've seen in Deadwood. She was the Irish lady in Season 3 of Sons of Anarchy. she's been around a bunch, and she gets essentially to play her Carmela Soprano role.
Yeah.
In this, and she does it really well. So I mean, just so many actors who you've seen in other stuff. Even the brothers too are actors you've seen in stuff but have never had starring roles.
Yeah.
This is one of those shows. So if you're a fan of character actors and you've always wanted to see, them push the abilities of their performance, then Ray Donovan is definitely the show to watch. And you should watch it because it's on Showtime and we're not sure if it's going to stick around.
It has a third season, and if God's fucking allowed, this will go on for at least another 1 or 2 and finish a story, because it'd be a shame. Because what's going to happen is people will discover the show on Netflix 3 years after it's been canceled, and then everybody's going to complain that it got canceled too soon, and me and Joel will be sitting here being like, well, you should have fucking watched it when we told you to.
Yeah, think of this as a public service announcement from Joel and Armin, where it's like, God damn it, you should watch Ray Donovan, because if you're complaining when it's gone, we're going to both be here like, we told you, we were in on the ground floor.
We're going to be the Ray Donovan hipsters.
Yeah, we're going to be those guys. We're going to be like, well, we liked the show before it was cool and before everyone was watching it. And yeah, I'm rarely in on the ground floor of shows like this. I'm rarely into shows like this before they get huge. And I really do feel like Ray Donovan has all the potential to be the next big show, and yet not enough people are talking about it.
Yeah. Seems like it's me and you talking about it.
Yeah, it's just me and Armin. We're the only ones.
I check websites like, IGN, I'll visit it, and they're not even talking about it. Then the comments are people being like, hey, why don't you review Ray Donovan, but you review Big Bang Theory? And the editors are like, what the hell's Ray Donovan? And I'm like, Jesus, people, isn't TV your job? Like,
well, actually, it's funny. I got turned on to the show because, Chris Cox and the guys over at One of Us on one of their Ordinary Gentleman shows, they were talking about it. Which was funny because it was around the same time you started, so we got to start around the same time.
I got turned on to the show because I was watching the disappointment of Dexter coming to an end, and they kept having a pop-up right before. It was like 30 seconds. It's like, Ray Donovan, Liev Schreiber. I was like, well, I'm in it when they said his name, so I guess.
You're like, hey, I like Sabretooth.
I sure do.
Actually, it's funny, the new Sabretooth, the redesign for Post-Axis and the Wolverine, he looks like Liev Schreiber again.
Good.
They stopped making him look like Liev Schreiber. Now he looks like Liev Schreiber again. I'm like, ooh, does that mean we could possibly see him in one of the movies again?
So there you go, guys. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you'll go check out the show. Netflix, Amazon, VHSs, Grandma's Basement somehow. I don't know.
Grandma's Basement is a huge fan of Ray Donovan.
Just get your hands on the show. Go watch it. Like their Facebook page so they know people are interested in the goddamn show so it doesn't get canceled. Because if it does, and you're not watching it, I'll come to your house and I'll do stuff to you.
Hey, tell you what, you got 2 choices, the bag or the bat. Watch the show and you'll understand what I mean by that.
Go watch it, people.
Hey guys, Joel here reminding you that this video was made possible thanks to our many great patrons. If you want to become a patron and get exclusive comic book cast content, then click the Patreon link below and see how you can help us bring you the content you've come to love. Every little bit helps, and thanks for listening.